You reach for it without thinking. A piece of chocolate, a biscuit, a spoonful of something sweet lifted straight from the jar. You weren't even hungry, but your hand moved anyway. And now, mid-chew, you feel that warm wash of something close to relief, something close to calm, something that almost feels like coming home. That feeling is not a flaw in your character. It is not weakness. It is not a modern bad habit you picked up from vending machines and late-night screens. That feeling is ancient. It is older than language, older than fire, older than the human body you're living in right now. And when you understand where it actually comes from, everything you think you know about sugar falls apart. The real reason you can't stop eating sugar has nothing to do with willpower. It has everything to do with survival. Specifically, the survival of creatures who lived and died in a world where sweet things were almost never there. Start with your tongue. You have around 10,000 taste receptors. Each one is a tiny sensor built to detect specific chemicals: salt, bitter, sour, umami, and sweet. 5 flavors, but they are not equal. Bitter and sour exist primarily as warning systems. Most poisonous plants taste bitter. Fermented or rotting food tastes sour. Your brain flags both as potential threats. Spit it out. Don't eat that. Salt and umami signal minerals and protein. Necessary. Eat. But sweet? Sweet is in a different category entirely. Sweetness signals one thing above all others: energy. Pure, fast, available energy in the form of glucose. And for most of human evolutionary history, that energy was rare. Desperately rare. Imagine your ancestor standing in a forest roughly 200,000 years ago. Not in a city, not in a kitchen. In a world where every calorie had to be found, chased, pulled out of the ground, or climbed after. A world where there were no guarantees, no stored food, no refrigerator, no corner shop open at midnight. You ate when the world gave you something to eat. And most of the time, the world gave you very little. In that context, sugar was a gift, ripe fruit, honey stolen from a hive at enormous personal risk, root vegetables cooked soft over fire. These were rare, seasonal, high-effort rewards. And every time your ancestor found one, their brain lit up. Neuroscientist Kent Berridge at the University of Michigan spent decades mapping what happens in the brain when you encounter something rewarding. What he found changed how scientists think about desire. The brain has 2 distinct systems, not one. There is the wanting system and the liking system, and they are not the same thing. The wanting system runs on dopamine. It fires before the reward. It drives you toward something. It creates anticipation, craving, the pull toward the sugar jar before you've opened it. The liking system is smaller, quieter. It registers pleasure in the moment. That brief flash of sweet satisfaction mid-bite. Berridge discovered that the wanting system is far more powerful than the liking system. Far more persistent. You can want something intensely and get almost no satisfaction from consuming it, and your brain will keep wanting it anyway. This is why you reach for a second biscuit before you've finished the first. The wanting system is already firing, already predicting the next reward, already pulling your hand back toward the packet. The liking system barely got a word in. For your ancient ancestors, this system was perfect. It drove them to pursue high-energy food aggressively whenever they found it. Eat as much as you can, as fast as you can, because you do not know when the next ripe fruit cluster will appear. You do not know when the honey will be there again. The brain that wanted more sugar survived. The brain that said, "That's enough, I'm content," did not pass those genes down. You are descended from the ones who could not stop. Now put that same ancient brain in the modern world. A world where sweet things are not seasonal or rare, but constant, cheap, engineered, and everywhere. A world where the sugar that your ancestors might have encountered a few times a month is now available every single day in quantities that would have been incomprehensible to any human who lived before the industrial era. Psychologist David Kessler, former commissioner of the U.S. Food and Drug Administration, spent years investigating why modern processed food is so difficult to stop eating. What he found was that the food industry had effectively reverse-engineered the human reward system. Not by accident, deliberately. Sugar, fat, and salt combined in precise ratios hit the wanting system harder than almost anything in the natural world. Your brain encounters a hyperpalatable food, and it responds the same way your ancestors' brain responded to discovering a hive full of honey. Except the hive never runs out. The wanting system keeps firing, and you keep eating. Your liver feels this too. When glucose enters the bloodstream quickly, as it does from refined sugar, the pancreas releases a wave of insulin to manage it. Over time, with repeated spikes, cells begin to resist. The signal gets louder, the response gets weaker, and the body starts to fall out of calibration. But here is the strange part. Even before your body shows any obvious signs of that dysregulation, the brain has already adapted. Research from Yale neuroscientist Dana Small and her team found that consistent sugar consumption changes how the reward pathway responds. The initial hit gets weaker. The wanting stays the same, or intensifies. So you need more to feel the same thing, and less to feel the craving. This is not metaphorical. This is the same fundamental mechanism at work in every addictive substance known to neuroscience. The reward pathway adjusts. The wanting system does not. Here is what makes this stranger still. Your brain can be hijacked by the signal of sweetness without any sugar being present at all. Artificial sweeteners trigger the sweet receptors on your tongue. They send the same signal upstream. The wanting system fires. Dopamine moves. The anticipation of reward activates. And then nothing arrives. No caloric payoff. No glucose for the cells. Researcher Dana Small found that this mismatch, the promise of energy without the delivery, can actually intensify cravings rather than reduce them. Your brain learns that sweet taste doesn't mean what it used to mean, and so it wants more, hedging its bets, trying to recalibrate against a signal it can no longer trust. You are not weak for craving sugar. You are functioning exactly as designed. You're running ancient hardware in a world that has moved faster than evolution can follow. There is a concept in biology called evolutionary mismatch. It describes what happens when an organism built for one environment ends up living in a radically different one. The desire for sugar evolved in a world of scarcity. It is now running in a world of surplus. The craving is real. It is functional. It is ancient. But the context it was built for no longer exists. This is why discipline alone is such a poor tool for managing sugar intake. You're not fighting a habit. You're not fighting a preference. You're fighting a system designed by millions of years of selection pressure to keep you aggressively pursuing the sweetest thing available. Telling that system to simply stop is like telling your eyes not to track movement. The system will not hear you. What does work, according to nutritional psychiatry researcher Felice Jacka at Deakin University, is not elimination through willpower, but environmental design. Change what is available. Change the effort required to access sweetness. Make the ancient brain work for the reward the way it was built to, and the wanting system begins to normalize. Not because you stopped wanting, but because the cues that trigger the wanting are no longer constant. Think about what that means. Every time you reach for something sweet without thinking, your wanting system is doing exactly what it learned to do in a world where calories were scarce, fruit was seasonal, and the body that ate the most survived. You're not a person with bad habits. You're a very old animal in a very new world. And the gap between those two things is where the craving lives. Tonight, when you reach for something sweet, you now know what is actually happening. Your wanting system is firing. Your ancient reward circuitry is telling you that energy is nearby and you should take it. Millions of years of survival pressure compressed into one small pull of the hand. The craving that feels so personal, so present, so stubbornly yours is the same craving your ancestors felt standing in a forest, tasting something ripe for the first time. The difference is they were hungry, and the forest was almost always empty. You're reaching for something your body has always wanted in a world your body was never built to live in.